this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove there's strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just no passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify. The things that you believe in have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for you. Shout out to everybody for being here tonight. It's nice to see familiar faces again. You guys know the deal. It's Friday night. I found out today was a 4-day weekend. I didn't have a clue. I didn't go to work or anything, but somebody texted me and said, "Hey, did you know we have today off?" I said, "Who the hell is this?" I'm still in the active duty army, but I don't do that kind of thing. Nonetheless, you guys know the deal. The format of the show is simple. If you're on TikTok, I'm not talking to you. If you're on YouTube, shout out to you for being here. Thank you for supporting the live stream, and thank you for being here every night. All you TikTok cats, move on over. It's pretty simple. Links in the bio. Come ask your questions. Now, you guys know the deal. I'm going to talk about what's trending in sports, and then I'm going to get after all your questions, because a lot of you have questions, and not everybody knows. Not everybody has the right answer. None of your friends know, but Rico knows. And that's the plan, right? That's how we get down. So if you guys don't ask questions, the show ends quickly. If you do ask questions, then we'll be here all night. Last night was a 3.5-hour marathon of answering questions, and that's fine. Just ask them. Ask them once. Don't repeat yourself. Chill and wait. Try not to argue with other people, and have a good time. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here. Rico Knows, okay? So, what's trending today? What's trending today? Well, number one, what's trending today? This guy named Ja Morant got suspended for 25 games. So Ja Morant gets his punishment coming down 25 games from the NBA. If you ask me, it sounds about right. It sounds about right. I was asking for 41. I just wanted half a season. When I look at some of the NFL suspensions for misconduct, for things detrimental to the Shield or the league, they have no problem suspending you for 4 games or maybe a season. Shout out to Josh Gordon, right? He can't get his drug thing right. Keeps smoking weed that's legal everywhere. But nonetheless, 25 games is about 30% of the season. If you do the math, not a third, but 30%. Now, 30% of the games, all before the All-Star break, this also disqualifies him from being an All-Star. He cannot be in the All-Star game. Just so you guys are aware, Ja Morant has played 4 years in the league. He's got 2 All-Stars. Now he'll have 5 years in the league and only 2 All-Stars. This is not a guy getting 10 All-Stars in a row. This is not a guy that is, and I know everybody's talking about it. He's got a Supermax contract. He's got this, he's got that. I don't know, man. It's just a popularity contest, and he can't even get in that damn contest. Now, 1 year was the bubble when they made it to the quote-unquote playoffs, and he played well. He was lights out in the playoffs, but there was no All-Star game. Rookie year, he didn't go. And then these last 2 years, he's gone. But he's not going to go next year. He's not him. He is not him. And I hope he learns his lesson. And the lesson is, if you ever get in trouble in sports, in the media, in the public's eye, just blame your mental health. That's all he's done. He said he needs to get his mental health squared away. He's going to be addressing his mental health concerns while he's suspended. Bruh, you don't have mental health concerns. Your concerns are that your issues are that you don't respect authority. You don't respect decision makers or rule makers. You're a rule breaker. Ja Morant, you are a rule breaker. And people like that, you know what they call them? They call them uncivilized. You know why we have rules? For civilization. To live among one another. If we have varying levels of ethics, fine. But we know right from wrong. And if your employer tells you not to have a gun, you don't have a gun. It's that simple. You can have one. You can have one. You can flaunt it around all you want. You just won't be in the NBA. He didn't lose enough money, guys. He didn't lose enough money to learn his lesson. That is real. That's how I feel about it. So shout out to Ja Morant. 25 games. Speaking of not enough money, how about Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan is selling the Hornets. Selling the Hornets for $3 billion with a B. $3 billion. I don't know, man. I don't know how much Oprah's worth, but he can buy 3 of her. Not saying he wants to own her. I'm just saying this man is selling the Hornets for $3 billion. You guys, there is no easier way to make money in this world than being an owner of a professional sports league. They're not even good. They're not even good. I'm going to make a video about this later tonight when I get off live here. I'm going to make a video about this because this man bought them for $275 million. He bought the team for $275 million back in what, 2013? When was it? 2010. 2010 is when he bought them at the majority stake that he has. 2010, you flipped $275 million into $3 billion in 13 years? Guys, there's no real estate out there that can do that. There's no real estate that can do that. This is crazy. This puts him up there. This man can go out and buy an NFL team. And he knows nothing about NFL. He knew nothing about basketball as far as I'm concerned. He had that team looking terrible. But you want to know something that's crazy? He's selling the team because they lost the lottery. If they didn't lose the NBA lottery, he doesn't sell that team. I'm telling you right now, he doesn't sell the team. If they get that Wimby, Whataburger kid, the 7'4" stick, if they were to get him in the draft, he doesn't sell the team because the value goes up. You know, they don't talk about this. They always talk about NBA players are overpaid. NBA players are overpaid. Do you guys remember when LeBron left to Miami? When he left to Miami, Cleveland Cavaliers were appraised at $500 million after LeBron left. Okay? $500 million. About 6 years later, LeBron wins a title in Cleveland, and they get appraised at $2 billion. LeBron's making $30-40 million at the time. And everybody's going, oh, he's overpaid. I can't believe he makes $40 million for playing basketball. And this is in 2014, 2015 timeframe. Dude, the man is making $30-40 million a year, but he made the owner $1.5 billion in an appraisal. I don't think we can grasp what's going on here. The players are not overpaid. They're not underpaid. Let's not go there. They're not underpaid. Nobody's underpaid. They've got associations and unions that fight for 50-50 revenue. NFL's 48% revenue, 52 to the players, or to the owners, 48 to the players. Now, the way they cut that pie is crazy, right? You get 48% of the revenue. You take the total revenue, and then you divide that total revenue by 32. That's the NFL salary cap for each team. That's how the salary cap is calculated. And then you got to split that by the 53 guys on the team. So 1/32 of the proceeds gets split 53 ways. When an owner gets 1/32, he ain't got to split it with nobody. All 53 of them dudes are splitting scraps. The owner's getting, and it comes out to like the players get $404 million on an NFL team, and the owners get $423 million. Right? That's the kind of difference there, about $20 million difference. But the coaches got to pay, the owners got to pay the coaches with their profits. The players just got to all split that shit among each other. You should look into it. But oh my goodness, Michael Jordan, $3 billion, bro. What are you doing with it, bro? You gonna go buy a pyramid? What are we doing with $3 billion? I just want to know. But he had to sell. They lost the lottery. They're gonna lose value. He had to sell. Another big story before I get to the chat. I'm going to move over to the chat here in a second. But another big story is San Diego State finally says they're leaving the Mountain West. We already knew this. I made a video about this 4 months ago. 4 months ago, I told you guys it's official because I got word. Hey, I got, snitches, bruh. I got snitches in my chat. People send me DMs. If you're talking to me down here on TikTok, I'm never going to answer your question. You need to move over to YouTube and ask the question. Get to the live stream. Hit the link. Get to the live stream. Nonetheless, these TikTok people, man, they just spam questions down there. Like I'm looking. It's crazy. I don't even understand it. Yesterday it was 60 people in there just spamming questions. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Back to what I was saying. About 4 months ago, I had a snitch show up and go, hey, Rico, I was at a dinner last night with the athletic director from San Diego State. And he told all of us, we're leaving. He told all of us we're leaving. Now, he also said they're going to the Pac-12. But officially, San Diego State has not been invited to the Pac-12. Officially not invited. We're waiting for the invite. Okay, bruh? But it's an open invite. I bet you they said, hey, just get out of your conference, let them know you're leaving, and we'll pick you up. Kind of like dating, bro. There's a girl interested in you, but she's married. You're like, look, I'm not going to date you while you're married. Go home, tell your husband you want a divorce, start doing the paperwork, and I got a spot where you can stay once that gets figured out. I'm interested, but you got to go through with what you say you're going to go through. I can't do it any other way. You got to let them know you're rolling out. Because if you don't let them know, then we're just messing around. We're wasting our time. And I can't waste resources on you. I can't afford to take you out to dinner if you're married to somebody else. No, that man's got to pay your bills. I didn't sign up for all that shit. You don't have my last name. Pac-12 don't want to hear it. So, yeah, San Diego State, let everybody know. Now, the question is, if you look at this graphic, is the Big 12 interested? Is the Big 12 interested in San Diego State? I don't think they are. I think SMU and San Diego State are going to roll out. You see it down here. People say it right here. I think SMU and San Diego State are going to roll out and pursue their dreams of being Power 5. SMU has always wanted to be Power 5 ever since they lost their slot in the Southwest Conference. If you guys don't know the deal, they got the death penalty. The Southwest Conference combined with the Big 8 in the 90s, 94, when they combined to make the Big 12, SMU was not invited. SMU is not part of that conversation. You know what's kind of funny is neither was TCU. TCU was not invited either. TCU and SMU both went to the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, and then TCU started winning, moved to the Mountain West, started winning, moved from the Mountain West to the Big 12. So they're back in it the way they wanted to be. SMU's just behind the ball a little bit. And that's just the nature of losing for years upon years. 30 years of losing? 30 years of ineptitude? Yeah, man, you're gonna miss out on some shit. So, yeah, shout out to them. San Diego State, bigger and better things going. Great news for their basketball team. They have a great basketball team. It'll help with recruiting that they're playing in the Pac-12 immensely. And they already have good players. They already get some solid players from L.A. Shout out to Kawhi Leonard. Shout out to, who's that guard they got? It was a guy, Tony Bland. Tony Bland from Westminster. Dude, you guys, I'm pulling one out. This is back in Tayshaun Prince days at Dominguez. Baron Davis, Caleb Gervin. This is all 98 to 2000 time frame. Tony Bland. Remember the kid. I think he went to USC first, then transferred to San Diego State. But shout out to him. All right, I'll get into the draft, but I'm going to move over to the chat now. Let's go to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Let's see what you knuckleheads are talking about tonight. Not your friends don't know, but Rico knows. What's up? What's up? All right, let's get to the chat. Welcome in, everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, only ask questions once. RicoKnows.org for all your merch needs. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody who went and bought merch last night. I woke up to a bunch of purchases, people buying hoodies and shirts and coffee mugs. I want to tell you, I make the most money off the T-shirts. So if you want to buy a shirt, do your thing. But shout out to Rico Knows, and shout out to all my followers. We don't know what to call you guys. We want to say Rico's Army. I am a first sergeant in the United States Army, world's strongest army. They want to say Rico's Roughnecks, but I think that might be trademarked. So we got to come up with something. But shout out to all of you who support the channel, who are here every night. Hey, if you can't buy merch, that's fine. Do me a favor. Watch the hell out of my videos. Share them like crazy. Let's make sure everybody knows the truth, and we keep spreading this information, knowledge, and love. Let's do it. Rico, RTR. Hey, RTR. I don't know what it stands for. I think it stands for Rico, that's right. That's right. Rico, that's right. Shout out to Lewis Henton. He's missing his elephants tonight. Roll Tide roll. Rico, can you preview the fights for Saturday? When, where, who, etc. Okay, Steve. So the fights for Saturday. If you guys didn't know, every Saturday there's fights. Let's go. Give me a second. Here we go. Fights for Saturday. So there's a prelim card initially. By the way, it's fight night. It's free. It's on ESPN Plus. It is completely free. I will be live streaming the fights. I will be here like this, talking to you guys, watching the fights. And anybody who's ever watched a fight can tell you, if you watch live streams with me, I just had a guy named Steve Hyde. Shout out to Steve Hyde. He was on TikTok. He says, Rico, I watched UFC all the time for 10 years. And then I watched UFC with you, and I learned more with you than anybody else. He's like, I learned more in that one night watching it with you than I ever did watching it by myself for 10 years. And it's just a good, just having an understanding of what fighters are doing, how they do it. If my background is MMA, I've trained and taught and fought for 20 years. I am a mixed martial arts expert. But more importantly, as you know, as fanatical as I am about college football and football in general and sports, I've applied it to MMA, but not to the degree you would think. I don't have a lot of respect for these guys, man. I feel like I can beat up half the dudes in the cage. Just keeping it real. I'm letting you guys know. Nonetheless, here we go. The early prelims. 2 fights are canceled. Okay? All these early prelims you need to see. This is where all the knockouts happen. And this is where all the knockouts happen. That's all you need to know about these fights right here. But when you get to the main card, there's 2 fights I'm excited about tomorrow. Okay? And it's the co-main event and the main event, but not the main event, but the co-main event, Arman, I never say his name right. Sukran. Dude, he's so clean. He's so clean. And we're going to see what he can do to Silva. Joaquin Silva, hey, you're in trouble, bro. Arman is real. So I'm excited to see Arman fight. I find the main event to be boring tomorrow. Marvin Vettori, he's a wrestler. He's Italian. He wears suits. He thinks he's Scarface, but he never really kicks anybody's ass. You know what I'm saying? And Jared Cannonier, these are journeymen. These are journeymen. If these were NFL players, these are just free agents looking for a spot on a team, maybe a third string running back that wants to be in the rotation. No big deal. I see an 8-0, 8-2 fight here. I've never seen this. I don't know enough about them to say that they're going to win. And obviously Sabatini's fighting, so worth the watch. Nonetheless, a lot of fight night fights are just guys that you need to discover and understand who they are. So I'll be watching it with you guys. I'll be talking you through it. It's exciting stuff. Shout out to you, Steve, for asking. Morant sent me back to Chaos. My bad. Chaos. He just always comes in and yells out, Rico! Hey, what up, Chaos? Good to see you, brother. Morant sent you. Okay. Allie and Annie. I wrote nice. Morant is my twin brother. Shout out to Morant's Rants. He's talking about a whole lot of nothing. He's talking about stock market every day on YouTube. He talks about GME and AMC. People get us confused because we're identical twin brothers, but it's not me. I know nothing about that. And he's not talking sports. Do you think USC will have some defense this year? T, yes. I think USC is going to have some defense this year, but I want to remind you guys of something. I like Jamil Muhammad. He's from Georgia State. He's a linebacker transfer. I like him. Mason Cobb, great transfer. A bunch of defensive linemen, great transfers for USC. But what's more important, what's a lot more important for USC is their running game. I want to be very clear. They score way too fast last season, and their defense got tired. They scored an amazing amount of points last year. So did Tennessee. Both defenses are very comparable. Tennessee and USC. They are the number 1 and number 2 offenses in the country, scoring an insane amount of points, and all that does is put your defense back on the field. And neither one of those teams had great defenses because of it. Your defense is on the field too often, they get tired. So what they decided to do, they said, hey, man, we need to dial it back a bit. We have Raleek Brown. We have Austin Jones, both very good running backs, right? So then they go out and get Marshawn Lloyd, the leading rusher at South Carolina, and they have him transfer in. So now they have 3 running backs. Why don't we run the ball a little bit? Why don't we just slow down a little bit and not keep airing it out the way we were? Just slow down. Give our defense time to rest. Let them breathe. Outside of that, they got a ton of upgrades on the defense. I really like where they're headed. I hope their defensive coordinator can put it together. I feel like he's never really there. Ginch, whatever his name is. But for me, Christian Roland Wallace, stud corner. Mason Cobb. The defensive line, the 5-star kid from Texas A&M, Anthony Lucas. He looks the part, man. They got freshmen. They got Curtis Tackett Curtis. Look for Tackett Curtis to be a problem. I like that guy. I think he's Clay Matthews reincarnated. So get excited for what they're doing and how they're doing it. Okay? I'm excited for USC defense. What's next? Thoughts on Marcus Freeman. So, Matt, my thoughts on Marcus Freeman are pretty simple. This is a defensive coordinator that did well at Notre Dame. He was able to convince the faculty to hire him, and he's done well in recruiting. He's done well in the transfer portal, well enough, right? But he just lost his offensive coordinator, and this will be the first time he's having to replace a coordinator having departed after being pretty good. Okay, he's lost his best receivers in the transfer portal. He really has. Lost his second best running back. And it's just unfortunate. You lose your leading tight end, who was your only offensive weapon last year, in Mayer. And then you have a good running back room. You still do. But as far as a person goes, right, Marcus Freeman, good dude. Good coach. Think he's got an uphill battle next year. Think it's going to be tough. Now, the schedule's always favorable for Notre Dame. But I still think it's going to be tough for him to get over that hump and meet the expectations of the Notre Dame faithful. He also replaced one of the top 5 coaches in the country. After seeing what he did at LSU, it's really hard to argue against Brian Kelly. So Marcus Freeman's just got a lot on his plate. What's up? Checking in from Las Vegas. Trevor Bratch. If you're in Vegas, bruh, I got news for you, man. I got the spot for you. If you're in Vegas, the spot to go is called the Grand Chateau. The Grand Chateau has no casino, has no restaurants. It's just right next to Planet Hollywood It's a very tall building. It's a Marriott timeshare. I don't mess with timeshares. But when people aren't using their timeshares, they rent out those rooms like hotel rooms. I get the TDY rate, $100 a night. I spent 30 days in Vegas on the Strip at the Grand Chateau in a damn apartment, essentially. It was a penthouse. It was beautiful. It was out of the movies, bruh. It was out of the movies. It looked like The Hangover when they mess up that apartment. Well, they mess up that damn penthouse, and Tyson's in the bathroom with a tiger. And they're sniffing whatever, and they're waking up, don't know what happened. Yeah, that's what my room looked like for $100 a night. I decided to stay there for a month. I said, here, take my money. I'm not leaving. Yo, Rico, do you think Cameron Ward and Washington State are dark horse conference champions? Glaze, Laraco Glaze, shout out to Glaze here. He is subscribed to me on TikTok. That's very rare. I don't have that many subscribers on TikTok, so shout out to him. But nonetheless, Cameron Ward and Washington State, dark horse conference champions, that they are the darkest of dark horses. They're so dark, you can't see them, bruh. And they're so far back in the line, they don't have a horse. They got a pony, okay? There's no way they're winning the conference. There's no way. They overachieved last year winning 7 games. They're not doing it again. They're not doing it again. They just lost Diane Henley, a stud linebacker. I love everything about Cameron Ward. Everything about him. They just lost their offensive coordinator as well. He just left. I just don't believe that you really think Washington State's going to win the conference. I think you're just asking me questions now. You're just throwing names out there. You're just putting out schools, bruh. Dark horse to win the conference would be Oregon or Washington. They're not even favorites to win it. Those are dark horses. You're crazy. Washington State's going to have their hands full winning more games than Cal and Arizona State and Colorado. Washington State doesn't want to see Colorado on a Saturday. They're not talking about conference championships. They don't want to line up and see the Buffalo across the way. The Buffaloes are going to stomp them out fiercely. I promise you. There's nobody at Washington State that wants to see Travis Hunter on a Saturday. No way. John Morant is only a human highlight, shoots 30% from 3. Okay, what's that got to do with me? What's that got to do with me, Marlo? Marlo, your character was on The Wire season 4. Nobody watched it, bro. We stopped watching after 3 seasons. Shout out to Marlo. Byron Gray, what up, man? Peace. Rico, out of Oregon, Oregon State, USC, and UCLA, who can see you possibly upset? Out of those 4, UCLA. Marlo, out of those 4, Colorado can upset UCLA. They don't have a senior Latin quarterback. They don't. Yeah, that's where you're at. I can't even. The other 3 have NFL quarterbacks or senior Latin quarterbacks and ridiculous running back rooms. They're going to run over teams. Oregon, Oregon State, and USC, those are 3 of the top running back rooms in the nation. I was going to spend this whole episode tonight, this whole live stream, talking about running back rooms across the country. And if I did that, I would have to talk about those 3. UCLA's almost up there. UCLA's almost top 15 because of Carson Steele, the transfer. But if they're going to upset anybody on that list, it's got to be UCLA. And I don't like their chances upsetting anybody on that list, by the way. I like their chances beating Arizona State, Arizona, Washington State. Those 3 seem a lot more realistic than these 4. Not a chance on these 4. Any given Saturday. Slow down. Slow down, barbecue. Those teams got to be respected. Those teams have real players. Those teams got studs. They really do. ESPN Fox won't pay the Big 12 a full share for picking up San Diego State. Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter. Drew money. They don't need to ask for extra money. You don't need extra money. You have a previously agreed to, conference. Like this is the crazy thing. You know that Oklahoma and Texas had to pay an extra, let's just say $100 million to leave the SEC, to leave to the SEC a year early. They had to pay an extra amount of money. It's something crazy. Let's just call it $100 million for a flat number. You know all the new Big 12 teams? Houston, UCF, BYU, Cincinnati. They didn't get any cut of that money. That's not their business. That's not their money. They don't care. They didn't get it. And all the old teams were like, nope, you don't get this. You new teams, you don't get this money. Oh, but we're in the conference. No, you don't get it. You weren't here for it. Same way it works with TV contracts. You don't get the money, bro. You weren't here for it. We negotiated before that. We're not renegotiating. You don't have no leverage. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no leverage. Governor Ann Richards was responsible for getting Baylor in as the only private school in the Big 12 back in 1994. Shout out to Governor Ann Richards. Ann Richards, is that Julia Roberts in what's that movie? Charlie Wilson's War? I'm just joking. Do you think Tulane will move to Power 5 soon? No, not at all, Eric Hollis. No. I don't think they have any other sports programs, and I don't think that they're invested in their other sports programs enough to warrant a Power 5 offer. Tulane had one good year. Tulane does not have a track record for having good years. They had one good year. The last time they were this good was Sean King when he went undefeated. Like, they weren't it, bruh. They just weren't it. And Tulane, if you ask me, they're not going to be the best Power 5 team or a Group of 5 team next season. I don't think they're top 5 out of the Group of 5s. I got Troy. I got Ohio. I got Boise. And I'm looking at SMU, and I feel good about them. I'm looking at UTSA. Feel good about them. South Alabama. There's better teams out there than Tulane. Tulane just had a good season, bro. It's not like they're moving up to the next conference. You know how good Cincinnati had to be? You know how good Cincinnati had to be with Luke Fickell and how long they had to be that good? Tell me why Boise State isn't in a Power 5. Just because it's Idaho? Because nobody wants that TV market? Boise State has consistently been kicking ass for 30 years, 20 years. Seriously, 20 years. Shout out to Donnell Pumphrey, San Diego State's finest, y'all. It's a great running back. Larry Ned, Donnell Pumphrey, Penny, Rashard Penny. Like, you guys got to know, San Diego State's got running backs. Do you think Oregon could go to the Big Ten? And if they end up going, do you think the Pac-12 will die out? I think it's problematic if they do leave. I think if Oregon leaves with Washington, because they're not going to go by themselves, they're going to take somebody with them. If they leave with Washington, it's problematic for the Pac-12. But they could go to the Pac-10, and they could just stay Pac-10. Their commissioner already said they were willing to do that. Stay at the Pac-10. I think you go at that point, you just go pick up Hawaii. You go pick up Hawaii and Utah State. You go pick up somebody in the area, Fresno State. Go pick up Hawaii and Fresno State and call it good. San Jose State and Fresno State. These will become Pac-12. Like, these will become Pac-12 teams. They'll get recruiting budgets and coverage, and they'll become good enough to be in the conference. It happens. You just pick them up and keep it moving. It's okay. Drew Gooden is from Northern California, next door to Oakland. Oakland. There we go. Oh, yes, thinking of somebody else for SoCal. Okay, I didn't see the message. You retracted it. Where is Cormani? He's on campus. He's just waiting to get athletically cleared. I know zero about MMA. After Rico sessions, I know like 5%, still working on it. I'll put you in a headlock and squeeze. Have God bless you. Like if you just sneezed. See, I come up with punchlines and I do it with ease and then pick you up and throw you in the breeze. Have people take pictures and say cheese. Okay. What about the Rico Rules Sports from the group name? Know nothing about it, bruh. LOL. What's your opinion on Corey Foreman at USC? So, Preston, my opinion on Corey Foreman is every single player from Corona Centennial that year. So, Corona Centennial had an all-time great team. They finished like top 5 in the polls, I think. Or was it 8th? Finished 8th in the national polls in high school. And 4 of those guys from Corona Centennial went to USC. None of them panned out. Corey Foreman's still there at USC, but Gary Bryant Jr. just transferred to Oregon. The other kid, I'm forgetting his name. It's like a Samoan name. He transferred to Fresno State, and then the corner transferred to Louisville. So for me, all 4 of them are busts. Like they just didn't amount to, or they didn't live up to their expectations. I feel that way about Corey Foreman. It happens. Guys they get too many stars next to their name. It's these recruiting websites just anointing kids before they ever do anything. Corey Foreman shouldn't be labeled a bust. It's just the websites that said how good he was. How about he's just a kid who went to USC and not good enough to see the field like anybody else? They're not all called busts, but because some website said he was good, now he's a bust. It sucks. I don't like it. Rico, any news on Jordan Buchanan? None. I have no news on Jordan Buchanan. I wish I did. I don't. If you guys didn't know, Jordan Buchanan, corner leaving Purdue, transferring. It's Ray Buchanan's son, And he went on a visit. He went on a trip to Colorado. Still hasn't committed anywhere. Kind of curious what happens with him. He's got pro pedigree. We'll see what's up. What's your record prediction for Missouri? I watched a video with a bunch of SEC homers acting like they're the next Tennessee. Okay, Cameron Hayes. Never watch a video with a bunch of SEC homers. That's number one. Let's pull up Missouri's football schedule. I think I've done this before. I don't remember. But I don't have Missouri on a pedestal by any means. I think they're working through a lot, trying to figure out who their quarterback's going to be, how they're going to replace certain production at certain positions, like their defensive line departing after being so damn good. They were 4th in the SEC East. But look, they're going to win. I don't know if you guys can see this. I might need to zoom in. Let me see. Let me control scroll real quick so you guys can see it. Give me a second here. There we go. So they're going to win. I think they lose to K-State, beat Memphis, beat Vanderbilt. So they're going to be 4-1. Lose. They can beat Florida. They can beat Florida. They're going to have 5 wins. So 5-7. That's how I feel. I don't see them beating any of these other teams. 5-7 Missouri. And I don't think it's bad. It's just somebody has to lose. And I think it's going to be them. That's how I feel. I thought I knew football before I started watching Rico. Shout out to you, Braden Miller. It is what it is. I'm excited. I'm glad I get to impart knowledge on everybody. You know, I get messages like that every single day. Hey, Rico, you make me look forward to wanting to see the season. You helped the offseason go by. You've opened up my eyes on college football. I want to see more than just the SEC. I want to see this, that. I have my local team I'm going to go watch this year because of you. I bought season tickets to Georgia Southern because of you. Whatever they're saying. It's always cool to hear it, man. It never gets old. I love inspiring people to want to do better and learn more. At the same time, there are those Neanderthals. There are those crayon eaters and paint sniffers that show up in my comments every single day and don't understand or grasp what they're seeing. They just go, hey, we won 15 national titles. They don't even know. They don't even know. And then they kiss their cousin on the lips on the way out. I don't get it. Just straight family trees that don't, it's just a tree stump, bro. It just, boom. That's what I'm dealing with every single day. It's insane. Thoughts on Michigan State's recruiting class? So, Bridger, I don't really concern myself with recruiting classes because these players are not going to see the field. The vast majority of them are going to transfer, redshirt, and they're just added depth. And I will not talk about depth players for 2 to 3 years before I ever seen them on the field. So, no thoughts on Michigan State's recruiting class. Do I know all the players? Yes. Did I study it? Yes. But I'm not going to share thoughts on it because I will not sit here and talk and speculate about recruiting. Everybody does this all off season. They talk about recruits. So-and-so's down to his top 5 schools, top 6 schools. So-and-so committed here, committed there. None of it matters. None of it matters because they're not even going to go to that school. They're going to change their mind. They're going to sign. I've got 3 guys sign letters of intent already in the transfer portal. 3 incoming freshmen. There are 3 freshmen in the transfer portal right now that went to this school that they committed to for the last 2 years. Everybody's been talking about them and what they're going to do at this university. Been doing questions like this. Oh, what do you think about this guy? What do you think about this guy? For 2 years, they've been committed to these schools. They get there in January, enroll early, go through spring ball, and they're in the transfer portal right now. Michael Daugherty got in after 8 days. Michael Daugherty just did 8 days at LSU. But we got a kid at Mississippi State already rolled out. Wide receiver, gone. And then just the other day, we got another one. Right? It wasn't wide receiver, defensive tackle from Oklahoma, gone. The commitments don't matter. Recruiting matters. Recruiting matters. But me covering football and covering sports, if I waste 0 time studying the recruiting classes and where the early commits, I have so much more free time on my hands. I can actually learn about all the players that are going to see the field. Transfer portal players will see the field before these recruits do. Fact. Is it Arizona State versus Colorado almost sold out? At least that's what I heard anyway. Goat 42, if a game sells out, you can still buy tickets. If the game sold out, you can still buy tickets. They just resell those tickets. That's why the game sold out. People just buy all the tickets and then resell them on apps. You can always get a ticket to the game. Doesn't matter if it's sold out. How do you feel about Maryland's Tagovailoa? TT. We're going to call him TT, Twinkle Toes. I like him. Aramis, I like him. I like Maryland's team, actually. I think they're one of the better teams in the Big Ten. They're fighting for that fourth best team in the Big Ten with Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota. All four of them, I think, are in that area. Now, one of them's got to lose, but I like Maryland. I think they did well in the transfer portal. Tyrese Chambers coming up. Loxley's got it going on up there. I like Maryland. I like them a lot. They have a really good tight end, better than C.J. Dippre, who just transferred to Bama, just so you know. He was the backup. Do you think FSU will beat LSU? I don't think they will. I think they can. I'm not picking a winner out of that game. Those are two very good teams. Florida State won last year by a point, but that was a new coaching staff having to implement his stuff. And by the end of the year, LSU had a lot more traction with their coach, their game plan, and what they're doing. And then when you look at this year, they're both loaded teams. I have a lot of respect for both teams. What kind of impact do you think Dante Cephas has with the Lions offense this year? Running back room at Penn State is stout. Offense looks promising. All right, J-Lo. Dante Cephas, just another wide receiver at Kent State. Never popped on tape to me. I don't understand the hype. Of all the wide receivers, the kid going to North Carolina is better. Okay, Dante Cephas is better than Polk, who went down to West Virginia. But for me, I don't understand the hype. It's just a receiver showing up to Penn State. It happens all the time. I don't get it. So I can't buy that one. What's your thoughts on Western Kentucky? Could they be the next big Group of 5 team? Not necessarily Cameron Hayes. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys they got in the transfer portal were kind of leftovers from from Power 5 teams. They don't quite have the financial backing in their football program. Like, you can tell collective money and NIL money spewing out of SMU. You can just see it, okay? And then you have talent-rich states like Texas, which can feed teams like Texas State, UTSA, SMU, right? North Texas. So, and then even bleed over to Tulane in them. But when you're looking at Western Kentucky, what they have is quarterback U. What they have is Tyson Helton, the head coach, the brother of Clay Helton, the disciple of Jeff Brom. These guys all learned how to play and coach under Jeff Brom. Jeff Brom leaves. Now he's at Louisville, but he left to go to Purdue. But Tyson Helton, his offensive scheme is what has them so primed and ready to do great numbers and great things. But I don't think that they put enough money into their program to be relevant at that echelon where they're the next Power 5 team. I like Ohio Bobcats more than Western Kentucky, and I love Austin Reed, and I love a lot of their players, Corley and everybody. But it's just different. Boise been solid, yes. They're so solid, their coaches keep getting hired to Power 5 schools. If Jordan Tyson and MLC were still on Colorado's roster, would they be in the top 4 wide receiver rotation? This is the opinion of many CU fans, but not mine. Jordan Tyson would be the number 1 wide receiver in the rotation. Jordan Tyson is great. Jordan Tyson was a very good football player. MLC would be in the rotation, but Jordan Tyson is a cut above the rest. He will be on the field at Arizona, and Arizona has 2 5-star guys. Arizona has 2 NFL guys. So, yeah, Jordan Tyson's great. Don't get it twisted. Jordan Tyson's very good. He got injured, and they had to roll out. The player that lost $8 million, what a guy. I suspect it being a big contract, quarterback or defensive lineman. Yeah, LaRocco Glaze, it's somebody, bruh. It's somebody not good at it. What's your opinion on Tiger and all the Bachmeier brothers? So we got Tiger and Bear Brockmeyer. If you guys didn't know, Hank Bachmeier, I shouldn't say Brock. Bachmeier is the starting quarterback at Louisiana Tech, right? Sonny Cumbie's offense. So Hank Bachmeier, coming out of Murrieta, was a superstar right as a freshman. He started at Boise. Now he lost his job because Taylor Green is him, right? So he loses his job to a really good dual-threat quarterback. He got injured. They fired the offensive coordinator. All this drama. Don't want to hear it. He transfers. Essentially lost his job and had to transfer to La Tech. But his little brothers, I went and watched tape on these little guys. So Tiger and Bear Bachmeier are supposed to be the truth. We'll see. Let them keep working. I don't get too excited about high school recruits like that. Let them keep working. Hawaii did have Day-Day once. Yes, Hawaii did have Day-Day. Day-Day was at Hawaii. Go watch the film. The quarterback was Cordero, and he's now the quarterback at San Jose State. back when Day-Day was there. So Hawaii had a great quarterback and a good running back. And Cordero was second team All Mountain West last year, and he's the only returning quarterback that's like all conference in the Mountain West. Cordero's a good player. San Jose State's got a nice quarterback, nice team. Yeah, he's cool. Go watch the tape. He's not bad. And Day-Day, there's a game they played against UCLA. He's doing just fine against UCLA at Hawaii. So there you go. Bars. Oh, I just started spitting bars out of nowhere. It happens from time to time. Would Charlie Ward start at a Power 5 school in today's time? Sure. Yeah, he's better than a lot of these guys. Remember, Charlie Ward did not get blackballed from the NFL. Charlie Ward blackballed himself. If you guys didn't know this, Charlie Ward never played. Heisman Trophy winner 1993. Charlie Ward never played in the NFL, and it's all his fault. It is not because the NFL didn't want black starting quarterbacks. As a matter of fact, 2 years later, they draft Steve McNair from Alcorn State, third overall, right? An FCS quarterback, third overall. Like, the reason Charlie Ward didn't play in the NFL is because of Charlie Ward. Okay, he was pissed that they gave him a third-round grade. And he said, I will not play if I've got a third-round grade. I'm not even going to be in the draft. Don't draft me. I'm not playing. And he went and played guard for the Knicks. But it's because back then, Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks were terrible. They did not get drafted. Starting with Doug Flutie getting drafted in the 12th round. Starting with Andre Ware got drafted 8th overall, but he flopped, immensely flopped for the Lions, right? And then Ty Detmer went in the 7th round. No, went in the 9th round. There was 9 rounds back then. Ty Detmer goes in the 9th round. Terrible, out of BYU. And then Gino Torretta went in the 7th round in 92 out of Miami. Terrible. So now here comes Charlie Ward. All these Heisman Trophy quarterbacks are terrible. They don't respect any of them. And Charlie Ward got upset and said, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not getting drafted. No Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks were respected at this time in history. And then after Charlie Ward was Danny Warfel, not respected. Okay? After Danny Warfel was the next Heisman Trophy winning quarterback was Winky. Absolutely terrible. Right? It wasn't until Carson Palmer won the Heisman in 2003 that Heisman started getting respected because Scott Frost, right? These guys got ignored. But Heisman started getting, or was it Eric Crouch? One of the two. Scott Frost, Eric Crouch, one of them. And it was back to Carson Palmer. And then Matt Leinart almost ruined it for everybody. But slowly but surely, Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks now, ever since Carson Palmer, are respected. Drafted first overall. They're NFL draft prospects. They're this great. They're this, that, the other. That's another reason why there has never been a group of 5 Heisman Trophy winner since Ty Detmer, since 1990. But you guys should study that and why guys don't get drafted because they didn't want to, because they fought it. But Charlie Ward could play in the NFL. He was good enough. As a matter of fact, after Charlie Ward doesn't get drafted, okay, I didn't know this question was coming up. Sorry for this long tangent. But after Charlie Ward doesn't get drafted, the Chiefs still called him. And the Chiefs said, hey, bro, we have Joe Montana right now. He's getting old. You want to come back him up, and then you'll be the starter when he retires. This is 1995, 94, 95 timeframe. And Charlie Ward turns him down. They offered him a chance to back up the GOAT and be the starter the next year, and he still said, no, I'm just going to go play basketball. I'm going to be a point guard. And I'm going to play, and I'm going to tell the world that I didn't want to be in the NFL. That I didn't get a chance to be in the NFL because they blacklisted and blackballed black quarterbacks. Never mind, Steve McNair gets drafted 2 years later, third overall. And then in 99, 6 black quarterbacks get drafted. 6 out of 13, 6 were black. Shout out to Donnie McNabb, Achilles Smith, Tony Banks. I go, man, you guys don't want to have this conversation with me, bro. Whew. What MAC conference school do you see moving up into a different conference like Marshall University did back in the early 2000s? So, no, I don't see any of the MAC schools moving. If any of them, it's going to be Toledo. But I don't see it. I just don't see it. Not from the MAC schools. They're far away from being relevant in any other sport. I think they like where they're at in MACtion, but I don't see it. Nope. Definitely not going to go to the Big Ten. Big 12's not looking for them up there. What are they going to do? Their conference is healthy. They're fine. They're not going to collapse. They might add a team or two. Conference USA might dissolve someday, and then they can add Western Kentucky and UConn, and they can get some rivalries going. Where Oda? I need some entertainment. No thanks, bro. I need that not at all. I'm very down on Mizzou this year. So am I. Let's go back over here. Rico, have you already given your opinion on Colorado's defensive linemen, Bishop Thomas and Leonard Payne? If not, I would appreciate your assessment. Thank you. So, yes, I've talked about both of these guys in the past when they committed to the school. I have videos on this. If you want to search on TikTok, hashtag Colorado, hashtag transfer portal, you'll find every single video I've ever made about all the players at Colorado. It's a long list. And I also have a Colorado playlist on my homepage. You just go to the very top before all the videos. At the very top are all the playlists. There's like 20 playlists. Scroll through them, find Colorado. But if I can tell you straight up, Bishop Thomas, to me, is a great recruit. This is a scout team player of the year at Florida State last year. He is him. He got the stamp of approval from his teammates. When they came over and transferred, the first thing they told Coach Prime and the coaching staff is make sure we get Bishop Thomas. And they did. So he's a great defensive tackle. Love everything about him. Leonard Payne is a one-year graduate transfer loaner coming over from Fresno State. And he's actually a lot better than anticipated. He just seems more mature, more physically developed. In the spring game, he was dominant. You saw him playing. He was getting past guys. Him and Coach just looked apart, bro. They look like they could be in that rotation all day. So Leonard Payne being one of these senior grad transfers, these are one-year loaners. They're going to hold over the team until they get their recruiting classes in, developed, and in the starting lineup. So, yeah, shout out to Leonard Payne. He looks good. Then who have the number one running back room in the country? So GOAT 42, the number one running back room in the country for me is Michigan. And no, it's not. Number one is Ole Miss. Ole Miss, they have Judkins, an amazing running back, and their backup is Bentley. And Ulysses Bentley, the fourth, had 900 yards rushing at SMU 2 years ago. He's a very good running back. So those two for me, because I think Judkins is the best running back in the country, so I got to go number one there. Number two, Michigan. Number three, Penn State. Number four, I want to say USC. 5, Ohio State. 6, I could be missing somebody right now. I'm going off the top of my head. 6, Oregon State. 7, I have a whole video on this, by the way. You just got to go find it. Good luck. Yo, what up? What up, Stone Braley? Thanks for being here. Hey, not too much on the crayons. Yep. On the topic of Mac Schools, how well do you think Buffalo will perform this season? One of my best friends is a UB fan. We're tuned in. Shout out to you, Glaze. Yeah, Buffalo's not going to do well. They're not going to do terrible. They just didn't dominate in the transfer portal the way they needed to. And they're not recruiting the greatest. I mean, it's Buffalo. It's Buffalo, bro. And if they get anybody good, they transfer out. So it's Buffalo. Some of their best players transfer where? To Kansas now? Because the Kansas coaching staff is Buffalo's old coaching staff. Thoughts on Miles Slusher? I know he was arrested at Arkansas and then got suspended and hit the portal. Yeah, Braden Miller, I think he's a terrible football player. Forget his character concerns. He's just a bad football player. Predict the Dallas Cowboys year. I don't do that. Thanks. Do you think Chris Marshall gets another opportunity? Not in the Power 5. Not in the Power 5 and not this year. He's got to go JUCO, get himself together, or he's gone. I don't see it. Guys like that just fade away. And we never hear from them again. Promise you. Thoughts on LSU's tight end group? They have the best tight end, second best tight end in the country. I like the group. It's fine. As a North Texas alumni, I will not be attending any North Texas games. Shout out to you, Aramis. You know, they fired their coach after going to the conference championship game. Because they were just tired of mediocrity. They have Eric Morris. They just hired him. He was the former offensive coordinator at Washington State last year. Remember I told you Washington State lost their offensive coordinator? It was Eric Morris. It's all up here, guys. I just got to go through it. It's like a little Rolodex. So he was the former Incarnate Word head coach. So he's an FCS guy, and he knows everything about San Antonio area, knows everything about Texas, and he goes with Cam Ward up to Washington State. They're a package deal. He's his offensive coordinator, and he's doing great. North Texas sees how great they did at Washington State and goes, man, we could have had that guy. That was an FCS coach in our state. Let's get him back. So they go hire him, and now he's the head coach in North Texas. I'm excited. Now, unfortunately, they lost Cam Robinson. He's a defensive end. He went and he transferred. He's a great freshman, sophomore at North Texas. He just transferred to SMU. followed the bag. And then they lost Ani. Austin Ani just said, I'm going to go pro. He's 29 years old, quarterback. Just said, I'll go pro. He had one more year left. And then they go and lose Varkey's Gums, the best young tight end that they've had ever. So it sucks. Thoughts on Chris Bell, wide receiver at LSU? I don't think he is him. Chris Bell's in the rotation, but he's not him. That's what I think. What are you streaming on? And answering questions. What do you mean, Mike? What are you talking about, Mike? I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. What are we doing? Rico Knows is running the house, so buffs. Thank you very much, Norman Tucker. Hey, Norman Tucker. Oh, I don't know. My mom played basketball at La Tech. Oh, shit, Prod. Tell your mom I said what's up, man. That's cool. Jordan Tyson transferred to ASU, not Arizona. Kid can play, though. No, I was talking about MLC being in the starting lineup at Arizona. MLC being in the starting lineup at Arizona, not Jordan Tyson. But thank you for the correction. Will Memphis win the American Athletic Conference considering they're playing future salesmen? No. GOAT 42. Memphis lost 6 wide receivers in the transfer portal. They lost their wide receiver coach and 6 wide receivers in the transfer portal. Memphis lost so much in the transfer portal. Memphis is going to be in trouble. They're not winning the American. UTSA is a favorite. Tulane's there. There's teams in the American. Memphis is not winning the American like that. Don't get it twisted. Mike, he answers questions here on YouTube. He goes down the list and questions in the order that they're asked. Take your time and slow down. Love the content. Thank you, Try Glass, and I appreciate it. Hey, man, every time I get a tip, it's right here, bro. It pays for my dinner, guys. I appreciate you guys, every last one of you. Love the content on Wisconsin. Hell yeah. I like the Badgers. My G, Rico, what up, Blake? South Carolina seems like a sleeper team. What do you think? Malik Rice, I don't think so. I think that they went 8-5 last year, and there's nothing sleeping about them. They beat some really good teams and shocked the world, right? Then they go and lose 5 of their best players in the transfer portal. There's nobody sleeping on them. They just need to overcome losing in the offseason. Hope they do well. I like them. Hope they do well. McNair led the FBS and FCS in quarterback stats and finished 3rd in the Heisman voting. Did Shador's deserve at least 1 vote this past year? No, A-plus behaving. Not at all. Shador's numbers were not anywhere near close to the FBS numbers guys put up. His FCS numbers were they were good, but they weren't on that level. No, they weren't on that level at all. We're talking, no. He didn't deserve a single vote, no. Do you think UConn will make the move to the Big 12? I don't know. I don't make predictions like that. It doesn't make sense for them to move to the Big 12 with their basketball team. FCS was Division I AA at that time, but it's still FCS. I don't know what you're saying. You're talking about just because I referred to it as FCS as opposed to 1AA? Okay. Okay. They've been playing for a championship. That's why they're the football championship subdivision since the 70s. Who has the fastest running back room in the country? The fastest running back room in the country. I owe you an answer, Ivo. I need to sit down and really think about it. I would have to really look into it. That one's tough. I want to give an answer, but that one's tough. Remember Jason White won the Heisman too? Yes, I did. I did. Who has the fastest wide receiver room in all of college football? These are questions I don't like to just answer out loud without having facts, right? It's not a subjective question. It can be factually proven that certain people are faster than others, so I should sit down, do the research, and give you an accurate answer, and I can't do that right now. Fastest running back room in the country, fastest wide receiver room in the country. Okay. I'll see what I can do for you. It'll have to be a video. It can't be answered right now off the cuff. Not that I can think of. Apologize. I know who the fastest player in the country is. That's Roderick Pleasant, I'm sorry. Roderick Pleasant at Oregon. He is the fastest college football player in the country. Maybe Aaron Smith is almost as fast at Georgia. Sorry for losing my train of thought for a second. They didn't stump me. It's just I don't want to answer them and be wrong. So that's how that goes. How well do you think Arkansas State will do this year? GOAT, they're not winning 3 games. Dallas area, North Texas is in the DFW. Yeah, I know. What did I say? Is it because I said San Antonio? He knows San Antonio so well? Yeah, I was just talking about a recruiting region where he did really well with Incarnate Word. I know where North Texas is. Shout out to you. And I've been telling him Josh Allen is overrated. Josh Allen is extremely overrated. But not by me, because I don't rate him that high. Thoughts on Jaheim Bell? Second leading rusher at South Carolina. They moved him to running back. He's a good tight end. He's not bad. He's a good player. Goes to Florida State. Go get your opportunities. I don't think he's amazing, but he's fine. For anyone wondering, he's going to be behind as he reads. Yep, I read everything. I'll catch up eventually. I get Miami is in your top 25, but do you think Cristobal will get us back in the picture? The picture, Miami needs to win games. They need to win and finish. You got to finish top 4 in your conference to make top 25. So figure that out. Figure that out first. Don't worry about top 25. Figure out your conference and how you're going to beat teams. You know what I'm saying? I know boosters around Memphis, if their coach can't get it together, he'll be gone. Boosters are impatient and he can't turn it around. Okay. Gatlin Blair is faster than Roderick Pleasant. Don't do it. Don't do it, Zion. Don't do it. Jimmy Horn is the fastest player in Colorado. Probably. That's what all the guys say. Probably. It's out of him and Dylan Edwards, but there's faster guys all over the country. Toughest high school football conference in the country, Trinity League, Southern California, Southern Section. That's not even up for debate. A&M beats Miami, right? Yeah. The white hype. You know I'm right, Rico. Okay. You guys are tripping. Let's go back over here. Another thing I want to talk about. I'll get back to the chat here before you guys start losing their mind. The XFL draft was today. Not too much fanfare, but I have it up here for you guys to learn and see. I made a video on this, but I do want to talk about some things, okay? When I look at this draft, a lot of these guys are transfers. Like an example here, Cy Barnett, Davenport. He wasn't at Davenport first. He was at Ferris State first, and he couldn't start at Ferris State, Division II national champs. So he transferred to Davenport his final year. He actually played. He gets drafted by the Renegades. I don't know what that's about. Connor Degenhart transferred from Holy Cross. I don't know what that's about, right? Charles Hall, he's a transfer as well. Arizona State. Where did he transfer from? Man, where did he transfer from? I don't remember off the top of my dome right now. He was playing somewhere for 4 years and then went to Arizona State. Where was he playing? It'll come to me and it'll be like later. And I'll be like, was it an HBCU? He was killing it wherever he was at. Then he got to Arizona State. Didn't play much. But my point is they drafted these young men. I'm going to be supporting them. When I look at the draft, what I find kind of funny, what I find kind of crazy, C.J. Johnson right here, complete stud. I have videos on C.J. Johnson. This is a 1,000-yard receiver. This is a stud receiver at East Carolina last year. Did not get drafted in the NFL. Got signed by the Seahawks right after the draft. Already released. So here he is. This might be his only opportunity to get to the NFL. I'm telling you guys, if he's in the XFL, he's going to be exciting to watch. C.J. Johnson is a real football player. So get excited about C.J. Johnson right there. Really excited for him. Let's see what he can do. Ty Scott here. Another guy to talk about when I look at some of these names. Quentin Barrow here. They say defensive back, Grand Valley State. I already told them. This is an offensive lineman at Grand Valley State, 2-year starter. He also got drafted in the USFL, so he's going to have to make a choice. Where does he want to play? Lindsey Scott Jr., the all-world quarterback, started his career at LSU, transferred to Missouri, transferred to Nicholls State, or went JUCO, then transferred to Nicholls State, and then lastly at Incarnate Word. So Lindsey Scott Jr. here, complete stud. I'm excited for him. He's going to be able to choose USFL or XFL. Jared Horst, same thing. This was the first pick in the XFL draft. He's going to get to choose between the two. Brock Martin's a great defensive lineman at Oklahoma State. Had 9 sacks in 2021. Probably should have went pro after that. He would have got drafted, his 9 sacks. But came back last year, and then he didn't get drafted. So there's guys around here. Billingsley, this is a superstar tight end coming out of high school. 5-star kid. Went to Alabama, was there for 3 years, 4 years, and then transferred to Texas. Only tight end drafted in the entire thing. Shout out to him. There's so many guys I could sit here and talk about all night, because for me, this is like who I know and what I know. 1,000-yard rusher, Titus Swin, at Wyoming last year, their leading rusher. This is a guy who got kicked off the team in November, and instead of hitting the transfer portal and going to another team, he just declared for the NFL draft. Unfortunately, he didn't get drafted. I made a video on him. He's really slow. He's just got a lot of burst on contact, but he doesn't accelerate. He doesn't pop on tape. He'll run you over, though. It's true. He'll run you over. There's a good North Dakota State kid. I don't even know where Rocky Mountain is. I'm assuming Colorado, but you never know. James Bostic was a backup running back at Ohio. That's a little nuts. Darian Chafin right here. Remember the name, Darian Chafin. 18 touchdowns last year in the FCS. His quarterback was Lindsey Scott Jr. Okay? Lindsey Scott Jr. at Incarnate Word. These guys went into the playoffs. They went all the way to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and it was all because Darian Chafin here. 18 touchdowns. This dude is a beast. 6'3", 220. He didn't get drafted. He's not trying out for any teams. I don't know what's going on. But the St. Louis Battlehawks got themselves a wide receiver. And we know the Battlehawks got fans. They're going to know this kid. And you're going to know him too. So, Darian Chafin. Good stuff. And TJ Green. I'll talk about TJ Green, one of the last guys here. TJ Green was a good running back at Liberty. He was. He was their player of the year in their bowl game. I think it was the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. In 2021, he was the player of the game for the bowl game. But then last year, he's third string. He's behind Day Hunter and Shedro Lewis. So Shedro and Day are ahead of him. He's third string, but he's always averaged over 5 yards a carry. Hell, the 2021, 7 yards a carry. I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure. I'm just letting you know. Stud. I like Darius Nash. There's just some good players here. One thing to note, there was a couple of trades before the draft, not a big deal, but here's what's important as you go down. For players who were undrafted, the XFL will host a series of workouts, a series of showcases across the United States in June and July. Once you get those and once you do well, you will be evaluated and invited to the XFL Combine. And the XFL Combine is on the 25th and the 27th in Arlington, Texas. That's where everybody needs to be going. Here's the showcases, and here's the dates. I'm going to be making a video about this, how to try out for the XFL. And the Combine itself is on the 25th through the 27th. So if you want to go to these showcases, you got to come down here and sign up. Registration is now open. Go to this link right here. You got to register right here. I'm going to give this whole thing out to everybody. Oh, by the way, kickers and punters, you got to go to Nick Novak's camp. Nick Novak, founder of the Novak Kicking and Consulting. You go over there and you can make it as a kicker, punter, and long snapper. That's for the specialists or whatever. So, yeah, that's what happened in the XFL today. There was a draft, and I'm going to share all that information with the world. So I'm just keeping that out there for everybody. All right, let me get back to this chat and see what you guys are talking about. And we'll get to the next topic. Will Malik Hornsby turn around his career at Texas State? So I don't know how to turn around his career. He's never had one. He's never really played. I don't think he's going to be the starting quarterback. If they liked him, they wouldn't have brought in TJ Finley. Malik's really fast. He's the second fastest player on the team behind a white guy named Drew Donnelly, who just transferred in, White Lightning. Drew Donnelly just transferred in from Cincinnati. He's a receiver at Cincinnati with Luke Fickell and the boys, and he transferred to Texas State. This is a kid who ran 10.3 in the 100 meters in high school. So Drew Donnelly on the team is faster than Malik Hornsby, but Malik's really good. And then they just said, hey, we need another quarterback. They saw him through all of spring, and they still brought in another quarterback. How do you turn down TJ Finley? I don't know. But they went and brought him in. So there you go. Thoughts on Marcus Bragg, defensive end at Auburn? No thoughts whatsoever. How's that work? No thoughts. Nothing really sticks out to me. I'm cool. Rico, do you know G. Ray Elder? Not off of the top of my head right now. If I see his picture, it might trigger something. But right now, you ask me that, I don't know. I really hope the Orlando Guardians can turn it around. They need to change their name. There's nothing Guardian about Orlando. Anytime I think of Orlando Guardians, it doesn't even resonate with me. Like, I don't get it. They could have been the Orlando Gators. They could have been the Orlando. They can't be the Predators, but they could be some type of animal. Guardians? The fuck? What are Guardians, bro? Guardians are those kids. Guardians are those people who take care of the kids nobody wants, right? When I was in school, anytime somebody was like, well, who's coming to the parent-teacher conference? Always that one kid would be like, well, my guardian. I'd be like, who, his grandma? He don't even have parents? That's what I think about the Orlando Guardians. I just think it's a bunch of those people. I don't know. And I know I shouldn't say it, but I am. Do you think European soccer-type relegation system where last-place teams get demoted to lesser conferences would work in college football today? J-Lo, I do not believe you can have conferences when you do that. I believe that relegation is possible, but my reform for relegation is insane. I would dissolve all conferences and make sections. Section 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to Section 13. Okay? All the way to Section 10. And in every section, I would have 13 teams. I'm clear. 13 teams. You play every team in the section, 12 games. Every team in that section, 12 games. So you're in one section. You're either section 1, 2, 3. Just like if you were in high school football with sports, same concept. But the section 1 would be Alabama, Georgia, USC, Michigan, Ohio State, Clemson. No ducking anybody. The top 13 teams in the country would be section 1. The Premier League. It would be the best teams in the country. Section 2 would be the next best. And 3 and 4 and 5 and so on. And then we do relegation. If you're the bottom 2 teams, you got to play it out. One of you's got to move down. If you're the top 2 teams, you got to play it out. One of you's got to move up. So if you're in Section 8, yeah, you go undefeated. You're going to move up to Section 7 next year. And we'll see what it's about. I don't care about travel. I don't care about rivalries. You'll create your own rivalries within your section because you'll play each other so much before anybody can move up and get out, right? You'll be in your own section trying to grind and show out, but you're not going to move it all the way up. And guess what? There are FCS conferences that span from Jersey to California. Shout out to the Pioneer Football League. The Big Ten spans from Jersey to California, right? So it doesn't even matter about travel. The only people against this are SEC fans. I'm telling you right now, that's how you do relegation. Get rid of all conferences, and you make it sections, and you divvy up everybody. You can't duck anyone. And let me tell you, those teams at the top, they got a murderer's row every week. I don't give a shit. Step up. That's how I would do it. Billingsley, shout out to Friday Night Lights. There you go. Did you see that Deion Sanders might have his foot amputated? Preston, did you watch my show last night? Do you see U of A or ASU being in a better spot 5 years from now? James Ward, yeah, I think I do. USC, UCLA leaving really helps. And maybe they're in another conference. Yes, he talked about Deion's last night. Thank you. Malik needs to be a wide receiver. He did it some at Arkansas. And that's why he left Braden Miller. He doesn't want to be a wide receiver. He wants to be a quarterback. The reason he left is because they moved him to wide receiver. He wants to be a quarterback. As unrealistic as that sounds. I don't understand why the Pac-12 is so darn good. They got professional quarterbacks and good offensive coordinators. That's what will make your teams good. It's a quarterback-driven sport, league, everything. Go out and get a bunch of pro quarterbacks. Learn how to evaluate quarterbacks on the West Coast, and you'll be fine. If you ever looked at Ohio State and why they were good, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Matt Corral, these are all West Coast quarterbacks. Half the guys you see, you go, whoa, those are California quarterbacks. That's how you become good. Oh, and then hire guys like Lane Kiffin to teach you how to run an offense. USFL defensive back number 23 played at Westchester. Okay, made it back, hustling family around because I'm something important to get to. There you go, Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Steve was out here. Hey, he was out here doing his Uber Lyft. I would like to see Coach Prime redshirt Dylan Edwards and Cormani McClain. You and everybody else. For the breaks. Pick it up one time. Sorry, I meant which out of the two you thought were better. Thanks for the answer. James Ward, which out of what two? Arizona or Arizona State? Oh, I think Arizona's got something going. Obviously, Arizona State is more invested. Better high school kids in their immediate area. They're just more primed to be better. Arizona State Sun Devils are primed to be better because Tucson's not as big and doesn't have as good high school football teams. right? If Arizona State can keep all those kids at Chandler at home, they'd be great. But they can't keep them all at home. But they can attract Bishop Gorman kids, Southern California kids. Arizona's got their work cut out. Thanks for the relegation take. Love it. Agree with it. Why can't college football fix their scheduling problem? To me, it's the biggest flaw, area of improvement. J-Lo, they don't have a problem. They love the scheduling issue. They love not playing each other. It leads to undefeated perennial powers. This is what they're doing. They're trying to avoid each other. They don't care about the fan. They care about their money. They want teams undefeated, bruh. They're going to have them keep playing. Have you seen Kentucky's opening schedule? I talked about it yesterday. Kentucky, man. They opened the season against Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, and Akron. There's no way a perennial power in the SEC should be playing. There's no way teams in the SEC should be playing those teams like that in the preseason. They shouldn't. They avoid all the games that matter, and they avoid their own conference. Play your own conference at least 9 times. That's all I'm asking for. Back to the chat here. I don't know if you guys ever looked at the USFL draft, but I had it up for reference, but I'll get rid of it. The one thing the USFL draft did wrong is they drafted a bunch of guys that got drafted in the NFL draft. And when you get a player that's drafted in the NFL draft, well, that's cool. You own his rights, but he's just going to sit around and go to the NFL draft and try out on teams and then never get to your league. So what was the point of drafting him, right? Because he's going to be there. Like 4 years from now, he might show up. Okay, you got his rights. Cool. All right, so check this out. Transfer portal update. I'm going to hook you guys up. Let me make myself a little bigger. I know you guys don't want to look at me. But let's move this over. Let's talk about John Dumar first. So there's 3 guys in the portal. Kind of scary. And when I see 3 guys in the portal, 4 guys in the portal on the same day, you know what I think? I think, oh, man, there was a deadline to cut off financial aid for these players. And the coaches had to go out and pull scholarships. That's what they had to do because they have to be at 85 by a certain date or they're in violation, right? So they went and cut some guys. Nope, that's not what happened, man. These guys left. They did not get their financial aid cut. Now, the other kid did. The kid from Baylor, A.J. McCarty. A.J. McCarty got his financial aid cut. So he's going to get immediate eligibility. Trust me, he'll get a hardship waiver from the NCAA because the school blindsided him and took his scholarship away. Now, where can he play? He might need to go to like UTSA, Texas State, Incarnate Word. He might need to go FCS level, something like that. Okay, but let's talk about John Dunmore. He's in the portal, Oregon State. John Dunmore, it's no surprise he's there, number one. This was a high school All-American. This was a guy in all the Under Armour games and all that shit. They told me he was great, and I remember watching him, 6'1", 180. He's a slot receiver, but he's just so skinny. I say 6'1", 180, my ass, bro. This guy's 160. He just doesn't look strong enough to fight for routes, and he's only seen the field twice. Like, in 2 seasons, he had 1 reception in 2021, and then last year he had 9 for 99 yards. Like, he's not him. Now, he's from Chaminade, Madonna Chaminade. So, don't get it twisted. He could show up to Colorado and be a contributor immediately. He really could. This is a kid who, coming out of high school, signed with Penn State, transfers from Penn State, never played at Penn State, transfers from Penn State, went to FAU for like a split second. He's from Chaminade. He's from Hollywood. He's from, just above Miami. So FAU made sense. He's from Florida. He's a Florida kid. But he's from the east side. He's not from the west side. And then he transfers to Oregon State. And he's been there the last 2 years. And now he bounced. I don't know. I don't know where he ends up. We got another guy here, Justin Sambu. Does he want to walk on at Colorado? Does he want to show up with Kari Mans and his teammates? What does he want to do? Justin Sambu has offers from everybody. Justin Sambu is 6'4", 285. I went and turned on the tape. Holy smokes, he looks big. He looks tough. He looks so strong, bro. He looks yoked. He's got an offer from Missouri. I don't know if he should take that one. He's got an offer from Utah State. He's got an offer from who are the teams that have scholarships available? Buffalo and Georgia State. Now, I think he's interested in Buffalo for a couple of reasons. You know why he's at Maine? He's from Canada. This dude's Canadian. He's from like Calgary. He's really Canadian. He was the 8th best player coming out of Canada back in 2016. He's super old. 2016, the 8th best player, 2nd best defensive lineman coming out of Canada. But he's got 1 year left. and he just looks like a hired gun, I think he's in anybody's rotation. I really do. I think he's in anybody's rotation. Led his team in sacks last year, 5.5 sacks. I think he just looks tough. I went in and turned on the tape, and I go, whoa, that guy's kind of tough. I'm cool with him. And then you got Rufus Harvey here. Rufus might have a problem. I think Rufus, he already used his red shirt, number one. He already used his red shirt. This young man led Mississippi State in receptions last year. Everybody talks about Rod Thomas. This guy had more receptions. 53 receptions last year. Sorry, Ash startled me. 505 yards, but only 3 touchdowns. But this little guy is a good football player. You're the leading reception leader at a pass-happy team. Rod Thomas went to Georgia. What's with this guy? Well, this man didn't get in the portal because he wasn't academically eligible to pass admissions anywhere. So he's in summer school right now. And I think he's going to lose a year of eligibility. Or he's going to have to go down in competition big time. He's just going to have to. So he missed spring ball due to injury, so he didn't play. And he didn't play much in 2021. This last year was his first time with a breakout season. And I just think, like Harvey, he's there, but I don't know. I think he's going down in competition. I really do. I'm excited for that one. There's another guy I wanted to talk about. Hold on. Oh, I got to close this out. This guy, there's Rufus. They're talking about him. I don't care. They don't say nothing. Everything I just told you is not in any of these articles, by the way. Nothing in here says anything about Rufus. They don't know. These things they don't study anything. I want to talk about this kid. What does this say? Yesterday, Miami adds him. Okay, yeah. So here you go. KJ Cloyd transferring to Miami from Louisville makes 0 sense to me. He's not from Florida. This guy, he entered the portal in December. Got no love. Nobody picked him up. No published offers. No public offers from anybody. Gets back in the portal. And then in the spring, after spring ball, with Jeff. Oh, by the way, he gets back in the portal. Man, I hope I can find him. Oh, I wish I could find his. I want to find his. If you find it, it's hilarious. His Twitter. What's his damn name? KJ Cloyd. Look at this shit. This is hilarious, guys. Okay? He's committed to Miami. But if you want to see his tweets, let's start with, I have officially entered the transfer portal on December 1st, 2022. Well, you couldn't enter the portal till the 5th, so shout out to him. But he officially entered the portal. Oh, no, he was allowed to because he's a graduate transfer. Okay. And Satterfield left, so he's good to go. He enters the transfer portal on December 1st, 2022. Here he is, January 27th. I'm returning to Louisville for my final year under head coach Jeff Brom. Go Cards. Here's his next tweet. I've officially entered the portal in June 1st. Like, these are his, and now I'm committed to Miami. This doesn't make any sense to me. This whole movement here is crazy. Now, there's another guy that's going to Miami from Louisville, but he was at Alabama last year. The wide receiver, forgetting his name, super fast kid. He's going to be great. But this guy is not going to be great. He couldn't start at Louisville. He's a special teams player at best. Backup special teams player. Never had more than 20 tackles in a season. He's just a role player like you've ever seen. This is his last. Like, people don't understand. If you got an offer from Miami, don't take it. You're not good enough to start at Louisville. Why are you going to Miami? You're not better than anybody at Miami. It's a lateral move. Power 5 to Power 5. This guy, and he's not even from Florida. He's not even going home. He's from Mississippi. He should have found himself at ULM. He should have found himself at Southern Miss. Insane, dude. We got to stop the nonsense, bro. We got to stop the nonsense. Tyler Harrell, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Deep 30 yards of catch at Louisville. Thank you for reminding me, Sean B. Man, it's all up here, dude. It's all up here. It's a lot to memorize. Let's go. Let's go back to the chat real quick. College World Series started tonight. Omaha is a surprisingly great atmosphere for those who like college baseball. We know, Rico, who you got. Is Florida in it? Anybody who's playing Florida, I got. Is Virginia playing Florida? It's double elimination, right? So it doesn't matter who I got. I can change my mind after they lose once. I got no business liking baseball. Omaha is always got a good atmosphere. It's fun, even if you're not a baseball fan. No. I wish I got this type of player intel before each Saturday game day during the season so I could be tipped and cued on who to watch during the game, preferred over Lee Corso. Yeah, J-Lo. Lee Corso can't even talk English, bro. Lee Corso don't even know what's going on. I can break down every roster, every matchup, every game. That's what I intend to do during the off season or during the season. I'll be talking about matchups and teams and how well they look. You guys will know the team so well because of me. I promise you. You guys are going to know depth charts and know players coming off the bench. You're going to know who's where and who's what because of me. I really believe that. I'm going to impart so much more knowledge on you guys. The hell with everybody else. Amari Ward just commented on a Coach Prime post. He finally decided to head to CU. I don't really care. I don't worry about recruits. Tyler Harrell is who you're thinking of. Thank you. The in-season stream's going to be lit. I'm going to watch Group of 5 conferences because of Rico. Thank you, Braden Miller. That's what we're doing around here. Agree. Used to be an annual trip when we lived in KC. Oh, yeah, the baseball stuff. Virginia up 4-1 on Florida right now. What's up? I already called it. Rico knows. I don't even know what's going on. Rico knows. I don't even watch it, but I know. Shout out to Virginia. Do you know Sarah High School in Cali? Sarah. Are we talking about Robert Woods' alma mater? Are we talking about Marquise alma mater? Like, what are we doing? You're asking me if I know Sarah? Which Sarah? There's a couple Sarahs. The answer is yes, and you sound crazy for asking me, Tropical. You sound crazy for asking me, Tropical. I'm a big boxing fan and interested in getting into watching UFC. You should probably do that, Cameron. I heard Rufus at Mississippi State had a medical issue, and that's why he ultimately had to hop in the portal this late. Any truth to this? Well, yeah, he was injured during the spring, but he couldn't hop in the portal because he wasn't qualified. He's actually in summer school. The one in San Mateo, I don't know much about their quarterback. Okay, I heard good things about him. Yeah, I don't worry about high school players. That'd be a waste of a lot of my energy. But let's talk about some NFL players. I was looking at the transactions list here, guys, and when I looked at it, I saw some names that mean a lot to me. I want to show you two names right here. Kiki Kuti, right? Kiki Kuti, wide receiver, was at Texas Tech, was a 4th-round draft pick coming out back in 2018, I think. Is it 2018 when he came out? When did he come out? Kuti came out, I don't remember. But I can tell you that he hasn't had 1,000 yards receiving in his career. He's had about 4 touchdowns. I love Kiki Kuti. I wanted him to be great. That's a guy I missed in the draft. I was like, this guy's going to be great, and he wasn't. And it sucked because he's only 5'9". But I've always liked him. One of those Texas Tech wide receivers. Getting signed by the Saints gets me really excited. Lynn Bowden, this is a 3rd-round bust. This is a 3rd-round draft pick, complete bust. And if I told anybody he was a bust in 2020, no one would have listened to me. But in 2020, he was drafted by the Raiders out of Kentucky. Wide receiver, running back, gadget player. He was first team SEC. He was all this shit. Lynn Bowden Jr., blah, 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 blah. 28 receptions, 211 yards in his career. Total bust. Okay? There's Javon Wims down here. Javon Wims gets released by the Cardinals. This is a 7th-round draft pick from Georgia. This is Georgia's leading receiver, 2018. Leading receiver at Georgia. 28 receptions in his career, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nothing great. He and Lynn Bowden Jr. have the same amount of receptions in their career, 28. That's nothing, bro. These guys are trash, not making it. Sir Roderick Thompson, I told you guys before the draft, he's not getting drafted. I told you he's not going to make it in the NFL. He doesn't have the speed. And look at this. Gets waived by the Saints. He's not there. Another guy who got waived by the Saints, though, this one shocks me. Malik Flowers. Now, he was supposed to be – now, this is why they signed these two up here. Lynn Bowden Jr. and Kiki Kuti get signed because they just released Sir Roderick Thompson and Malik Flowers. Malik Flowers, though, that's Devin Hester, y'all. That's Devin Hester. Malik Flowers is from Montana, the Grizzlies. Shout out to FCS Grizzlies. He has the NCAA record for most kickoff returns for a touchdown. I think it's 7. He has the record, whatever it is. So Malik Flowers getting cut, that surprises me. That's crazy. Christopher Dunn getting waived by the Rams. I think he'll get picked up by somebody. Christopher Dunn, after the draft, just he was the Lou Groza Award winner in 2021. So he was the best kicker in the country coming out. Now, he stayed another year, and this last year he wasn't the best kicker in the country. But he goes undrafted, and the Rams pick him up after the draft, and now they just released him. So that's crazy. Anthony Witherspoon shouldn't be too mad, but he just got released by the Chiefs, and the very next day, Witherspoon gets drafted by the XFL. So he can't be mad. He got drafted by the XFL. He could be mad. He's trying to make it in the league. He could be mad. He should be mad. Poor guy. Let's get back to the chat. The one in San Mateo, but heard good things about him. Amari Ward isn't a recruit. He's a JSU lineman. Oh, I apologize, Matt. Boom. What up, Rico? Blessings, brother. Thank you, Jared. What up to you, brother? Thank you for being here. It's Friday. Thought on Texas football this year. I have them number 10 in my preseason poll. I think they're going to be good. Do you like Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame? I'm thinking he has a huge breakout year overtakes Cam Akers. So I liked him at Notre Dame. I don't know how he's doing NFL-wise. I don't know how he's doing against Cam Akers. I just don't know. But I like him. Been doing college football chat rooms and message boards since 1995. This is the best source of data I've encountered ever. Keep that strong analysis coming. It'll get absorbed. Thank you, J-Lo. I'm trying my best, man. I've been doing the same thing since 1995, I'd say. I stay away from chat rooms and message boards. I immediately felt like no one knew what they were talking about. I can remember being a young kid, maybe 17, 18 years old, arguing on Cal High Sports message board about who were the best players in the country in high school. And there was this running back named Kenny James and Tyler Ebell and Lorenzo Booker and Frederick Collins. And we were all arguing about all these great running backs in the early 2000s, I think. And I just realized that no one in this room is holding it together like me. Like, they're just not. They don't know. They know their team, right? Like right now, Matt just corrected me on Amari Ward. And it's because Matt knows his team really well. Matt knows Colorado really well. But for me to have a conversation about 133 teams every single day and be prepared for it off a whim, this is not a game, right? I have to know everybody. And it's difficult. You mess up at times. But if you're batting 99% or 90%, you're in the ballpark and you can do this job. And that's where I'm at, man. I appreciate it. It's a rare day you stump Rico. There you go. Fellow Cyber Warrior. There you go. What did you think of Austin Scott back in the day? I don't remember, Prod. I don't remember. So, Kenny James out of Dos Palos. Oh, shit. There we go. There we go. Lamont Simmons knows the deal. Look at that, guys. I can pull names out of nowhere. No Google needed. Shout out to you, Lamont Simmons. That's what it is, man. You guys can't mess with me. Hey, your friends don't know what I know, but Rico knows. Shout out to you guys, man. Thanks. Love seeing everybody tonight. Peace.
Move I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie. Just know passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love. Those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make of lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be. And if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fiend. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers.